Doris Duke Theatre is at the Honolulu Museum of Art, located in the heart of Honolulu, Hawaii. It's kind of like Honolulu's hidden gem, and we love serving the unique community that we have here.
The museum was founded in 1922, and there has been a film program at the museum since 1930. In 1977, this theater, which used to be a gallery space, was transformed into a theater. The theater has had a very vibrant film program ever since then.
A noise came out. You were shaking. I heard your voice come out, and I knew just once. Sha-la-la-la-la.
Aloha mai kākou. Welcome to the Honolulu Surf Film Festival 2019. Yes. My name is Taylour Chang. I have the privilege and honor to be able to work at the theater as the curator of film and performance, and it's our honor to be able to be with you in this space, to be able to celebrate surf cinema together for the entire month of July.
Hawaii is the birthplace of surfing, so it's really exciting that the Honolulu Surf Film Festival, that we're here and we're able to show the surf film genre that has such a global reach, bring it back home and show it to our local audiences here.
On the maps, this is the biggest swell anybody's ever seen come through the Tasman Sea.
On the maps, it looks incomprehensible. It is so big, it's so purple, it's so tight, and it's a direct shot up the guts, right to Tavarua.
A set came and broke on the outer ledge, and everyone on the boats, like, you couldn't get your fucking board ready fast enough. Everyone's freaking.
We are a space that strives to bring people together in innovative ways and in ways that are informed by community collaboration. Hawaii exists within a nexus of many different cultures, histories, and perspectives. In the 19th century, we were a constitutional monarchy, and then there was the overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom in 1893. And since then, you see this increase of military presence, increase in tourism, increase in trade, increase of American influence in the islands. In late 19th century, early 20th century, there were many waves of immigration that came to Hawaii that were mostly tied to the sugar plantation industry that was booming at the time. What you see today is this culmination of the convergence of Hawaiian, American, Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, Korean, European, other Pacific Island influences, and it makes for a very multifaceted community here. Often Hawaii is sort of pictured as this paradise, and in many ways it's not. There are many different forms of inequities and issues, socially, culturally, economically, that we faced here. In a lot of our programming, we try to bring people together to address those issues, and we use art as a platform to address those issues. We can screen films that are responding to issues in the continental US and screen them here and localize the conversation.
Hawaii is such a unique place, and we're such a diverse population. Name it, everyone is here. Everyone from all over the world. And so the need to really reflect the reality of our population is important. One of the things that our curator, Taylour Chang, has done has made sure to be inclusive and unify these diverse groups through film.
I kind of like to challenge what our ideas and assumptions are of what a curator is, rather than assume that one curator can have the perspective to present a program that represents all sectors of the community, that the curatorial process can be a collective one. We have to reach out to people in the community to be thought partners, to be sounding boards, to be collaborators, to be co-conspirators. In some cases, we have film festival committees where a group of volunteers who are of a particular sector of the community advise and inform the final curatorial decision. And we also have a lot of long-standing partnerships. Sometimes it's a nonprofit organization whose expertise is a particular field, and we partner with them to craft and elevate the discourse around the content that we're presenting to the public. And sometimes we have guest curators. A lot of times we co-present events.
The Popola Project is a community organization, and we're very dedicated to exploring what Blackness means in Hawaii and the larger Pacific. The first thing that we really want to talk about as we bring some of this content to you this evening is, what does it mean to be Black anywhere? And the first film that we have, hopefully, will kind of challenge you to think about some of the histories of the Pacific that are often unknown, in part because those histories have happened to bodies that are raised as Black.
The idea of Blackness is complex in the Pacific. And that, in Tongan context, uli uli is the concept that you articulate Blackness. And uli uli means something that is dirty. I had the first-hand experience of it, an indigenous Fijian, in the Tongan society, where Tongans treat you with they patronize you, but beyond that patronizing attitude is an inherent contempt for Blackness.
Our organization funds Pacific Islander stories. It's the perfect fit for Doris Duke because the community that appreciates those stories are here. The theater is so easily accessible, and I feel our stories bring a new audience to the museum and the theater itself.
Hawaii has been depicted in film a lot in Hollywood and throughout film history. Films have sort of portrayed Hawaii as this sort of exoticized place, this sort of a destination for tourism, or just kind of paradise. That imagery and those narratives are problematic in a lot of ways and don't reflect the way we see ourselves. And so as an art house theater, we try to be very aware of how cinema has portrayed Hawaii, and we try to craft our program in a way that challenges that by telling our own stories, by supporting people who are of Hawaii, who are subverting the narratives.
I'm a filmmaker born and raised here in Hawaii. I make films inspired by the spirit, the land, the people. My last feature is a feature called August at Akiko's. We shot it on the Big Island of Hawaii. It's a film about a musician who's returning home and reconnecting with his roots. After screening internationally, it came home and I was really nervous about how the local audiences were gonna take it because I really made the film for them, this is really a love letter to Hawaii. But after screening here at home, audience members would come up to me crying and just so moved and overwhelmed at the ability to see their home on the big screen in a way that was honest and personal and lived in. And so spaces like these in which filmmakers can present work that's on the more adventurous side is really, I think, important for the growth of the filmmaking community here in Hawaii.
The Wild and Scenic Film Festival is just an awesome program that we've had for many years now, and it's curated by the 8th graders of Halau Kumana. It's a really great example of youth taking control of a program and exercising their curatorial voice and vision and presenting films to the community in a way that inspires action beyond the theater space.
We've got about 35 charter schools here in Hawaii. Some focus on Hawaiian language, others focused on Hawaiian culture and history. Our school's focus is really on collectively rehabilitating people and land.
For many years, our lands and waters have been neglected and desecrated because of bad practices. Now,
the Wild and Scenic Film Fest is, from our perspective, all about aloha Āina, which is love, appreciation, care for land and sea. And that's basically the focus of our school. It's not about viewing nature. It's not about nature staying wild. It's about what you need to do to protect it. Their byline is wild and scenic, where activism gets inspired, and that's the part that we really connect to. Because of the Wild and Scenic Film Festival, we wanted to be where activism got inspired, and so we created a stream cleanup along the Makiki stream where we're located. In the last just 2.5 years, the number of invasive creatures in the stream has dramatically plummeted, and our extremely rare native guppies are coming back to life faster than we ever thought they would.
The Makiki stream cleanup, it's a prime example of a program that does have direct impact outside of the theater. It's a really special program.
Being at the theater, it's such a beautiful theater. It makes our community feel really special to not just be an audience in it, but to be the host in it. It's become one of the hallmarks of the 8th grade curriculum.
I love the fact that our theater is underground and that it's on the back inside of the museum. Feels like we're this badass bat cave for cinema.
Our local audiences here really love films from Asia. I mean, we have such a big representation of people of Japanese and Korean and Chinese descent here.
Hawaii has a really rich history of screening old classic Asian films, all the ones of which that we're all very nostalgic about today, and that have influenced American cinema. My parents' generation, they remember growing up with those films and seeing people who look like them on big screen being their heroes. And a lot of times those films were premiered in Hawaii by its proximity to Asia. And there's a certain kind of nostalgia that exists in Hawaii for those films that I think might not exist as strongly or as in a concentrated way elsewhere.
We had a Kurosawa series, we had a Shaw Brothers series. It was so great to see all those people come and like kind of reminisce and be nostalgic, you know, about their memories of watching these films in the older theaters that used to be in Hawaii.
We are very proud of the fact that we're able to screen films that are not being screened in the mainstream cinemas here locally. Our goal is to create transformative experiences for our community and also be transformed ourselves. The museum has been an amazing space to be able to work from. It's so easy for us to give a lot to this space because it gives back so much. One of my favorite things is just seeing the audience sigh collectively or just laugh collectively or see the film land on the audience and seeing the audience, including myself, be moved together. In a time where, you know, the individual experience is becoming more and more easy to sort of fall into, there's a natural human drive to want to be in community with other people. And so I think our house spaces exist to be there for people when they feel like they need it.